I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, the Arakwal people of the Bundjalung Nation, and pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Human Design Podcast with me, your host, Emma Dunwoody. I'm a qualified master coach and human behaviour specialist, as well as being a qualified human design coach. And I work with clients every single day to answer the big questions. Who am I? Why am I here? And what is my purpose? I also assist them to transition from the person they think they should be to the person they really are on the inside. I teach people how to actually live their design instead of just knowing it. And if this is something that you want to do too, well, stay tuned or reach out for private coaching or Human Design Unpacks, where I show you exactly how to live your design.
Hey everyone, and welcome to today's episode. Today, I am going to give you some really simple and actionable things you can do by type to get started on your human design journey. So stay tuned. It's going to be awesome. But before I do, I really want to share one of my stories with you, what's been going on in the back of the business, because I know so many of you listening have your own businesses or you're transitioning out of corporate and into a business. And I'm really confident there's a lot of you out there that have been on the same journey as me, and you're going to be at different parts of that journey. I get it. But for those of you that are more at the beginning of the journey, maybe you're in the early days of your business. And when I say early days, I'm talking like the first 2 years. And this can often feel like it's more of a hustle and grind than an alignment and elevation. So I want to share this story with you because not to sort of say, oh, wow, look how good we are, but to actually say, like, this is how good it gets if you choose to continue getting out of your comfort zone and being in alignment. If you choose to understand what the difference is between those two things, because way too many entrepreneurs out there are quitting before they ever get anywhere near their potential, anywhere near their greatness, because they think that they're out of alignment. Now, this is why one of the transformational human design principles is understanding the difference between being out of alignment and being out of your comfort zone. Because often we can feel out of our comfort zone, but our alignment feeling is as we step out of that comfort zone, as we do the thing we're afraid of, and we find ourselves in this place that we're like scared and excited all at the same time. We can feel our alignment, but we can also feel our resistance coming up. And what I want to say to you out there struggling with this right now is just keep going. Really, just keep going. You know, I would say one of my greatest talents, and it's not something that I was born with, let me be very clear about this, but it's definitely something that my Gate 16 has helped me to master, and that is perseverance. Patience and perseverance, the ability to keep turning up, the ability to believe in the bigger dream, to believe in this feeling inside of me that has been driving me ever since I was a child. This perseverance, this patience, and this ability to continue to show up for myself, well, it's got me to this place where, you know, at the moment, as many of you know, we're working with this incredible consultant. So much is changing within the business. Really big things are dropping in. I signed with a major publisher with the book, and that's going to come out in September next year. I've also just got the opportunity to be interviewed on Open Minds on Gaia. So that's going to happen in September as well. And so many great and amazing things are happening within the business. And I want you guys to hear that this is because I've kept turning up for myself. I've been taking another one of the transformational human design principles. I've been taking imperfect action towards my dreams for such a long time that now it becomes a lot more easy and effortless. So I want to share this little story with you, and the reason and the intention behind this story is I want you to know that this is possible for you too. So every time that mind of yours, that ego of yours, that fear within you tells you, oh, well, it only works for her, not me, I want you to tell it bullshit. This can be here for you as well. So let me tell you this little story. As many of you may or may not know, today we started my mastermind. Now, this is the first mastermind I've run this year. We've run it every year for the last, I think it's 3 years. This could be I think this is the 4th year. And it is my highest end product. It's the biggest financial investment. It's the biggest time investment. It's the biggest energetic investment. It's a small group. It's an incredibly powerful program. We always launch it off the back of a webinar. We launch it off the back of a paid webinar because we're looking for people who are ready to invest in themselves. We're looking for people who are ready to take the leap into this higher commitment product, right? It's also the thing that probably I invest the most energy into. So there's a lot of skin in the game for me as much as there is for the attendees. Now, one of our major focus points has been HDX, my membership program, my membership community. And as many of you know, because you're in HDX, this is off the charts, amazing, the best human design community out there. There is so much content. There are so many teachers. We just had Yvette Mayer teaching marketing through human design, which was absolutely mind-blowing. We've had Jess Barbaco running study groups on the gene keys, like all of this crazy stuff. And it's only getting bigger and better next year. We're actually launching a whole new version of it, which is really, really exciting. It's taking everything in me not to tell all the secrets. I'm not telling the secrets till I'm allowed. I promise, Taylor, I promise. Now, we had, for the Mastermind this year, same strategy. We were just going to run the same strategy as we always did. We didn't change anything. We're just like this. We love this model. It works, feels really good and aligned. We built it through being in alignment with primarily my design. And as we were getting closer to launch, we were like, oh, you know what? Because HDX always get access first, we've got to make sure that we open the doors to them. You know what? I'll just do a Facebook Live. I'll tell them all that it's happening. We've got Jenny Crowther teaching one of the classes this year, so it's epic because there's 2 different teachers. There's me and there's Jenny. And yeah, we'll just do this soft launch in the Facebook group. And of course, a lot of our HDX community aren't even on freaking Facebook because, well, let's be honest, Facebook's a total freaking nightmare. We're working on that. We're getting off that too by the end of the year. So we just did this soft launch. And then we would launch properly off the back of the webinar, which was, I think, three days later. Okay. We get to the day before the masterclass, and the mastermind's full. It's full. My group's full. Jenny's group's full. It's full. We never got to open it to the rest of our list, to all of you guys, to the listeners. So part of me is like, sorry about that. But the other part of me is like, this is what being in alignment is all about. This is how easy life can be. But we have to learn to work through our fear. We have to learn to trust our strategy and authority, ultimately trusting ourselves. We have to be willing to take imperfect action in the direction of our dreams. We have to understand the difference between being out of our comfort zone and being out of alignment. We have to be surrounded by communities like the HDX community where we're lifted up, we're empowered, we're supported, because this is where magic happens. This is where we really learn to step into our power. Okay, so as I mentioned, I've just started the Mastermind and we start with type, of course. So I was inspired today to share with you this mini type experiment. I'm going to give you 3 things to stop doing and 3 things to start doing by type. So if you're new to human design, obviously strategy and authority is super important, but I also want you to just experiment with taking these behaviors out of your everyday life and putting these new behaviors into your everyday life. And then what I would encourage you to do is to make sure that you write down in your journal how life specifically changes. How does it get better when you stop doing these things and then you start doing these other things? Because ultimately they're going to help you get closer to your alignment. And of course, to be the most authentic version of yourself, calling in all the things that you want to call in. All right, so let's start with manifestors. Our manifestors are our trailblazers. They're our initiators. They're our creatively inspired people that are meant to inspire the rest of us into action. So if you're a manifestor, the first thing I want you to stop doing is asking for permission. When we ask for permission, as a manifestor, you are squishing, if you like, you are stopping, you are blocking that creative flow that you're designed to listen to and be inspired by and initiate with. Okay. So you're not here to ask for permission. You're just here to allow that creative flow to move through you. The second thing I want you to stop doing is making yourself small. All of you manifestors, you are actually here to take up space. You're here, like when you walk into a room, people feel you. And yes, there's a lot of talk about you being polarizing and having a repelling aura, which I feel sometimes isn't very resourceful. But the point is, there are plenty of reasons, especially as a child, that you learn to make yourself small. So you have to stop making yourself small. And then the third thing I want you to stop doing is people pleasing. Again, you know that you're different. You know that you're a little bit weird. You know that when you're on and you're just like, I'm just going to go off and do my thing. So it's really important that the conditioning you've built up over the years to people please, because you notice that you're different. You notice you have a big impact and that makes other people uncomfortable. That turns you into a people pleaser. So stop people pleasing. It's so important as a manifestor that you are uniquely you, that you are unapologetically you. So for my manifestors, I want you to start informing. It's the most powerful thing you'll do. Secret is not so much of a secret, but the trick to it is that informing doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel easy. In fact, you will probably be telling yourself that if you inform, people get in your way. And that makes you angry. But the truth is, if you start practicing informing, then all of a sudden you're going to notice that your energy flows so much more easily, that actually people get out of your way. And the people that are meant to be with you and on your journey, they join you. And informing, I like to call it's declaring the direction of your energy. Okay, so it's not asking for permission. It's really just saying, I'm going over here, I'm doing this, I'm being that, I'm having that. It's like just declare the direction of your energy. The next piece I want you to start doing is taking up space. Instead of like making yourself smaller because you can see the impact you're having, you got to take up space. What does that mean? Say something, be something. I tell the story quite a bit. I'm an MG, and I had my mentor say to me, Emma, for goodness sake, take up space. Stop apologizing. Stop saying you'll be quick about it. Stop saying, I'll just take a minute. No, step in and take up space. What does that mean? It means that when you want to speak up, speak up. When it means that when you've got that creative urge moving through you and you want to dance or sing or speak or whatever it is, do it. It's so important that you learn to fully take up space because you're a very powerful being. You have to be uniquely you and let those of us that are meant to be inspired into action by you actually see you, because then we know if we're here to be initiated by you or not. And then that's the third thing, to initiate. Don't hold back. Don't wait for validation. Don't ask for permission. Don't sit around on your hands and think, oh, should I, shouldn't I? Just initiate. You're the lucky ones, people. Get out there, initiate, have a crack, see what happens. Because when you're in alignment and you're doing these things, you become super magical and you inspire us into action, which is so important. All right. There you go, my manifestor friends. Generators, let's talk next about the things to stop and start doing for you. So, number one for all generators is to stop saying yes to everyone and everything. You've got to stop it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Yes, you have a lot of energy. Yes, things tend to come your way. Yes, you have that really sort of attractive energy, but it doesn't mean that you have to say yes to everyone's wants and needs and expectations, okay? So stop saying yes to everything and everyone. The next piece is really similar, but importantly, different distinction is stop taking all the responsibility. The amount of generators I've heard say, well, I just do it because I know I can get it done. It takes longer to explain it to someone else. I've done it before. I may as well just do it. This is really like dampening the fire of your sacral. Like this is taking out that lit up energy. It's just depleting it completely. So it's super important that you stop taking responsibility for all the doing, all the work, all the getting it done. So important to let that go. And the third thing I want you to stop doing as generators is initiating. I want you to stop thinking, oh, just get out of my way. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. And initiating, starting things, getting things started. The reason why is because you are a being that is designed to be in response. It's meant to be easier than that. You don't have to go out and take massive action. You can just respond. Know who you want to be, know how you want to feel, and then allow the universe to bring all the opportunities to you to respond to. Now, what do you start doing as a generator? Well, number one is set some boundaries. You've got to get clear and set boundaries. Again, take imperfect action on the way to setting boundaries. This is one of my principles for transformational human design. Take imperfect action in the direction of your dreams, or in this case, in the direction of feeling lit up. Get used to saying no. Get used to only saying yes to the things that feel like, yep, I've got energy for this. The second thing I want you to start doing is playing. I want you to start having fun, because if you think about what's playing, what is it? It's having fun. It's lightening up. What does lightening up mean? Lit up. So the more you can have fun, the more that you can play, the more that you can lighten up, then the more you're actually going to have this deep connection with your sacral. Then you are going to know what gives you energy and what depletes your energy, what's correct for you and what's not correct for you. And of course, the third thing has to be for generators is to respond to life. What does that mean? As I said, it's something for you externally to respond to. So you might have a feeling or a dream or an inspiration or a goal, something going on internally. And that's great. Feel it. Feel it in every fiber of your body. And then wait for something external of you to respond to. Now, one thing I want all generators and manifesting generators to hear is responding does not take a long time. You're doing it in every moment. In fact, you're doing it right now listening to this podcast. So just let life bring things for you to respond to and just practice being in response. Know that when you have intuition about something, that there will be evidence. If you're meant to go down that road, there will be external evidence for you to respond to, okay? The next type, of course, is manifesting generators. So manifesting generators, you guys are a hybrid. You're half generator, you're half manifester. We always say that manifesting generators or mani-gens or MGs, they are fundamentally generators, meaning that they are still in response, even though they carry a lot of the traits of the manifester, okay? So as an MG, what do you want to stop doing? Number one is stop trying to live in a straight line. Like, this is so important. You go to school. My 16-year-old at the moment, he's going through this, careers advisor. They're trying to decide what subjects to do next year so that then they can go on to university. And that is really painful and uncomfortable for MGs, because you are not designed to live in a straight line. You're not designed to have, do the same thing for the rest of your life. That is just not your jam. So stop trying to live in a straight line. The second thing I want MGs to stop doing is stop shrinking. Stop making others or shrinking to make other people comfortable. MGs, you're superhuman. You're really magnetic. You've got the power of a manifester, the magnetism of a generator. You come across as superhuman. When you walk in the room, people know, and it's okay. That is okay. So stop shrinking. Stop making yourself smaller. Stop apologizing for your MG-ness, okay? Because it is so incredibly important that you guys step into this bigness, this taking up space, this superhuman ability. And then the third thing for you is to stop operating from obligation. Similar to the generators, there is this part of you that's like, wow, I can do it. I can do it all. Like, I'm this multi-passionate human. Just give it to me. I can do it. It's just quicker if I do it. I'm super fast. But actually, you have to stop operating from obligation. Again, just because you can doesn't mean you should. So you have to let go of obligation and allow your authority and your strategy to guide you to what you have energy for and what you don't have energy for. Just because you see that you have a lot more energy than other people doesn't mean you should be using it the way other people dictate you should be using it. Now, what I want you to start doing is I want you to start by being messy and multi-passionate and all over the shop. Okay. Now, give yourself permission to be that because that's what you're here to be. You're here to do a bit of this and a bit of that. You are not a jack of all trades and a master of none. You are a polymath, meaning that you have the ability to master many things, just like Da Vinci. And the Gate 16 is also the polymath as well. So I want you to be all over the place. I want you to be multi-passionate. I want you to follow what lights you up because sometimes you're going to follow what lights you up all the way to the last endpoint. And sometimes you're going to follow what lights you up, for a day. And that is all okay. So you need to go through this process of reteaching people how to treat you. And I know people use the metaphor a lot of, being asked out to go and see a movie with a friend or go out to dinner with a friend or whatever. And having the freedom to say no at the last minute. You just got to reteach people how to treat you. Be okay with being a little bit all over the place. Because you think, or the mind thinks, or other people's conditioning thinks that you're all over the place. But from the universe's point of view, you are just perfectly on track, exactly where you need to be. The next thing for MGs is love being too much. You have so much to be and so much to do. So it's really important that being too much becomes a good thing, not a bad thing. Way too many MGs say, oh my God, I'm too much. No, you're not. You're just right. You're perfect. So love being too much. Love being too enthusiastic. That's something for me that I'm like, wow, I'm really enthusiastic, and I'm really passionate. And I've spent so many years, especially when I was younger, shutting all of that down. And I realize now that's so much of why I'm here on the planet, not only to do the work that I'm doing, but to inspire you to be too much. So get out there and be too much, please. And the last thing I want you to do is I want you to lean into being different. Okay. Start leaning into being different because MGs and manifestors, you are different. You're different. You are going to feel like you don't necessarily fit in. This is a story you're probably going to have told as a kid, growing up, maybe into early adulthood, maybe even still to this day. So lean into being different. You are different. You're going to take a bunch of different things. You're going to put them all together. You're going to see the world differently. So lean into being different. Then my beautiful projectors, you guys are so wise and so clever and so good at guiding energy and knowing what's working and what's not working. But what I really want you to stop doing is I want you to stop forcing your guidance on others because honestly, it feels icky. It feels really icky. And then we miss it. And then we miss the brilliance of you. We miss the brilliance of your wisdom because we feel like it's being forced on us. So please, my projector friends, stop it because we're missing the greatness of you from you forcing it on us. Then the next thing I want you to stop doing is I want you to stop needing other people to validate your wisdom, okay? This is so important because this is, I feel, where projectors fall down the most, is that they're constantly looking for external validation, that they want other people to say, yeah, I'm good at that. Yep, you see me, you see my brilliance. See, I'm brilliant, I'm brilliant. And this is not getting you invitations. This is just it's your unconscious mind and low self-worth trying to bump those things up. But actually, it's not doing that at all. It's doing the opposite. It's minimizing it because you're outsourcing your power. You're saying that someone else has to tell me that my wisdom is good for my wisdom to be good. And I feel like this is probably back in my corporate days. This is what I coached so often, where these incredible humans had all of this depth and wisdom, and they were just frustrating to the teams because they were trying to force it, that they could see that these people were brilliant, but they needed to be, they needed the external validation. And then as soon as we built that self-worth piece, boom, oh my God, the projector stepped into their greatness, which leads me kind of into this next thing that I want you to stop doing, is they stopped having an agenda when imparting their knowledge. This is something for all projectors I want you to stop doing, is stop having an agenda. Like when you tell someone something, you lead someone somewhere, you give this beautiful wisdom, no agenda. They can do whatever they want with it. Whoever that person is, they can do what they want with it. Again, set yourself free from that. Otherwise, you're going to be in fear, you're going to be forcing, you're going to be out of alignment, and you've got so much to do here. Like you've got this ability to see energy in such a way, to guide people in such a way, that's where you want to be focused on. Okay. So, projectors, what I want you to start doing is valuing your gifts and wisdom and value yourself without the need of external validation. That means that you have to validate yourself. How do you do that? Get your journal out and every day say, today I rocked out, today I love myself because, and finish those sentences. Pay attention when someone pays you a compliment and say thank you. Fully receive that compliment. Make sure that you are looking to, if you feel like maybe you're low in confidence around something that's aligned to your greatness, then go and talk to a friend about it. Say, can I bounce some ideas off you? Can I show you what I'm working on? Can I and have a conversation without agenda and just say, can I just share this with you, and see what they have to say about it. Don't look for external validation. Instead, what are you doing? You're actually doing that for yourself. You're validating yourself. You're like, okay, you're getting feedback, not validation, feedback. The next thing I want you to start doing is I want you to just be really conscious of going deep on whatever you are super curious about, because this is where your wisdom is going to be birthed from. Whatever it is that you love, that you're super curious about, that you want to learn about, that you want to dive into, the thing that you're like, okay, this is really good, but I can improve it. I've got a better way of doing it. That's the thing where you want your intention to go. That's where you want your energy to be invested in, because, we talk about you guys not having a lot of hours in you for regular work, but when it comes to learning, that doesn't count. You've got all the energy in the world to learn, as long as you're curious, as long as you're being drawn into it, because that's where the wisdom is created. And over time, it just gets greater and greater and greater. And the third thing that I want to say is, for projectors, given the way your energy works, is I want you to be patient and I want you to be in service to others. I want you to connect to that piece of, do I feel like I'm helping this person create success? Is that where this is going? Or is this about the validation? Because when you're in service, you guys freaking light up. Like, I love to see a projector who's in service that's just like, yeah, this is great. This is fantastic. And they're doing it from that place. It's incredibly powerful. And patience is everything. Because of the way your energy works, you have to recharge your batteries, as well as giving this guidance and being in your really projectorness. So be patient. Be patient with the ebbs and flows. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with your wisdom. Be patient with being seen and getting invitations. Because when you're surrendered to divine timing, it then seems like the invitations just keep coming, all the time. And last but certainly not least is my beautiful reflector friends. I feel like I so resonate with you guys. I haven't done much on sidereal, but I'm a reflector in my sidereal chart. And I also have an obsession with you guys. If you've been listening to the podcast for any period of time, you know that. So I feel like there's a lot that I really resonate with. So for reflectors, I really want you to stop rushing. That's the first and foremost, most important thing I want you to stop doing, is rushing. Take your time. Slow down. Just really surrender to the speed, the speed in which your energy is working at. Okay. So stop rushing. The second thing I want you to stop doing is hanging out with the people and in the places that make you feel rubbish. You are a superhuman energy reader. Amazing. And when your energy is squeaky clean, wow, you have access to so much subtle energy. You can read and feel and know things that so many people can't access. But you have to have the boundaries. You have to have the courage to be honest with yourself and say, oh, wow, this person, I've hung out with this person enough to know that they don't make me feel good. I need to put a boundary in place there. Or this place, it's just not for me. It feels icky. I don't feel really like I can expand and grow here. I feel like I'm in fear, or whatever you feel, right? So stop hanging out in places and with people that make you feel rubbish. Then the third thing is, you've got to stop trying to fit into a box. I remember really early days with my training, someone saying that, like talking about purpose or talking about your why, or These things that so many of us in the success space talk about. I know I talk about purpose a lot, but the old me used to talk about it as, this mission statement. We have this purpose statement. We do this thing. And one thing I learned really early on with reflectors is it's like, that's the worst thing that you can tell a reflector is find out who you are and then stick to it, because that is just not who you are. So don't try to fit into a box. Just pay real attention to how you ebb and flow, who you are with different people in different places, and love it. Okay. I want you to start paying attention to and making decisions based on the people and places that you feel good in, right? I've already kind of said that, so I'm doubling up. But anywho, so really get honest, pay attention, subtle energy. How do we do that? It's the body scan. Body scan before you go into a place or before you go into aura with someone. Then pay attention to how the energy shifts when you move into aura or into that place, and then how it shifts when you move away. Then you can really start to get a feel for how people and places make you feel. Also, give yourself that time, okay? Which is my second thing that you need to start doing, is start giving yourself time and space to make decisions. Now, obviously, we talk about 28 days with the reflector, but it's really about taking the time pressure off. It's really about, I'll have a decision when I have a decision. It's really about, I'll know how this person or this place makes me feel when I know how this place or person makes me feel. So giving yourself that freedom just to go through the process. If you're buying a house and it takes you 3 months, let it take 3 months. You're going to find the perfect house no matter how long it takes you. So really getting clear on not letting other people pressure you to hurry up. Okay, so really giving yourself the time and space to make decisions. And the last thing that I want you to start doing is trusting what you feel in the ethers and flowing with it. What do I mean by that? Something I've heard from almost every single reflector I've ever worked with is they tell me some form of this story. Well, I walk into a room when at a party or something, and there's all these people, and I can just energetically tell you what's going on, who's breaking up, who's making up, who's getting together, who likes the food, who doesn't like the food, who's this. So what I want you to start doing is starting to really trust what you feel energetically, because you're amplifying and reflecting back all the energy of a space. So instead of judging it or talking about it or trying to change it, all mind stuff, just practice feeling it and then flowing with it. This is the important part. Like, just start flowing with it. So if it's feeling icky, or if it's feeling scary, or if it's feeling constrictive, like, where are you being led to? Are you being led away? Great, then go away. But if it doesn't and you're being led in, for what purpose? Ask yourself a good question. Like, why for what purpose am I being drawn into this? Maybe it's something that you need to heal. Maybe you can see something and need to reflect it back at someone else, whatever it might be, and start trusting the flow of life. Okay. But it's also very important for you to have built that muscle around another one of the transformational human design principles that I've created, is to really know the difference between being out of your comfort zone and out of alignment. Okay, because you want to be in alignment when you're leaning into flowing with it. Okay, so that is the mini type experiment for you. As I said, what I'd love you to do is I'd love you to consciously practice stopping doing these 3 things depending on your type, and starting doing these 3 things depending on your type. And then you've got to journal on it. You've got to see how life is specifically better when you make these shifts. Okay. Because then we can show the brain that it's safe. We can show the brain that we get results. We can do all these things. So we're reconditioning our unconscious mind to support and align with our design. All right. Well, I trust that you got what you needed from today's episode, and I so look forward to having you on the next one. Bye for now.
Thanks everyone for being here all the way to the end of the podcast. I hope you got lots of value out of it. I certainly had a lot of fun doing it. Could I please ask that you share this podcast with friends if you found it valuable? And also, bonus points, could you leave a review for me as well on Apple? It would be greatly appreciated. If at any point you would like to be on the podcast, or you've got questions that you'd like me to discuss on the podcast, by all means get on my socials and DM me. Everything you need is there in the show notes. Have an awesome day. Bye for now.